So today I wanted to talk about a very important change that has happened in my life recently. Her name is Mira, and she's a cat. Now I know there are many sappy stories out there about people creating a bond with their favorite animals. I promise, this is a little different, because for the biggest part of my life, cats absolutely were not my favorite animals. I was never the biggest fan of cats because they seem so arrogant and selfish most of the time. And when they finally allow you to pet them, it's completely on their terms. They also will get violent when you cross their usually somewhat indistinguishable borders. Kind of a short fuse sometimes, I guess. For a time I worked at an animal shelter, cleaning out cages all day long. It was mostly because of the dogs that I thought this would be the ideal place for me. And it was, but not just because of the dogs. There was a special place for the cats that were sick. They were locked out back, in a small, usually very smelly room. Nobody wanted to clean their cages, because not only were these cats more often than not hostile, but they also knew how to make a mess. There was vomit and diarrhea everywhere, from the floor to the ceiling and all places in between, even on their blankets and sometimes on their own fur. The student animal caretakers that worked there didn't want to be in a room that was this disgusting. I was the only one volunteering to clean up that room. Perhaps it was because I was a few years older than these 16-year-old students. Or because some of these cats were the nicest once you got to know them a little, and they knew to trust you. Perhaps it was because the thought that some of them would die took my heartstrings, and I couldn't let them pass on, being this messy and unloved. Still, some of them would remain hostile until their very last breath. Cleaning those terribly smelly cages made me feel useful. I wasn't just cleaning out cages. I was providing care for some very unfortunate creatures, giving them medicine and doing the best that I could. And they knew what love was. When I would hold some of them in my arms, my heart would melt a little and I started to appreciate their ability to be alone. A cat doesn't need your appreciation to exist in peace. A cat just is. And whenever one of these cats would choose to sit with me, or lick my hand, I would feel like the chosen one. There was this one little cat that was very special. He was still a kitten really, but he had been brought in very sick, sneezing and coughing his little lungs out. Nobody wanted to adopt him because he was chronically ill. He was the sweetest little guy though, always polite and very cuddly. He had to stay there always, because even in a no-kill shelter, there is no justice for a cat that nobody wants. Every time I saw him, he made my day by being funny and cute. He was so nice. I would visit him every day for as long as I worked there. And then there was this big, fat, old cat that nobody wanted because everybody wants the kittens. You know, the playful kind that you can take cute pictures of and that destroy everything you've ever owned and loved. This cat was by no means a kitten, but he had a heart on his side. A real heart. And he sure was a big sweetheart. There was nothing wrong with him. He was only about 10 years old, and a cat that is healthy can reach 20. Yet nobody wanted him. Because they wanted a cute, small, little playful kitten that would grow up to be just like him. Or probably a lot less nice. Because he was the softest soul I've ever met. He would endure everything, from being picked up by a dozen of different people, from going to the vet for checks, to having his food stolen by the other cats. And not once have I heard him hiss or seen him lash out at anyone. That's why it made me especially sad to see him get frustrated with the small amount of space in the shelter. Eventually he would just sleep all day, as though he had given up on ever seeing the outside again. Those two cats and many more have changed my outlook on cats in general. Yet, I still never would have thought to take a cat into my own home. I have a very busy life. I have a lot to do. I don't have a huge house. There are a million reasons as to why I shouldn't have a cat. And then there was this one person that told me about a cat that would have to go to a shelter. An old cat with a chronic illness. In a split second, those two beautiful cats appeared before my mind's eye, and I wondered, would I have taken them in if I had had the chance back then? The answer was simple. Well, yes, of course. I do not need a cat, but those two cats weren't needed by anyone, and yet they were there and they needed someone. Here I was finally able to do something, to save a cat from the horror that is the animal shelter. So many other cats. No hope of getting adopted because of your illness and your age, and the constant stress of living in a space that is too small to really do anything in. Cats need their own territory, and in a shelter, that's just impossible. This is her, my Mira, my first and very own cat. She has been such a blessing. I thought I didn't need a cat, but here I am, and I sure can say that my life has become a lot better because of her. She makes me proud to be a cat owner, and I don't mind that she has passed 15 and needs some rest every now and then. I don't mind giving her medication every day, but I would not be able to have seen her sent off to a shelter, to wait there until she would die. Here she is now, living the best life that I can give her. She's loved, and I hope that she knows that. A pet is not a Christmas gift or a birthday present. A pet is a choice for life. When you get a cute little kitten, it will grow up to be a cat with its very own quirks and habits. Getting a cat that is older means that you know what you are taking on in your life. An older cat already has a personality that is fully developed. You know whether you're getting a couch potato or a cat that will run around all day like it's on fire. Or something in between, of course. And most of all, you will be giving a chance to an animal that would otherwise have no place to go, no hope of things getting better, and nobody to love them. Next time you think about adopting a cat, I hope you remember this. And when you go to an animal shelter to choose your new friends, please have a look at the animals that have been there the longest. They will be thankful to you for it, as will I. Thank you very much for listening.